When we talk about we keep us safe, a lot of the times those conversations are about community care, uh, interventions, community interventions, having people be resourced, uh, restorative justice circles, things like that, divesting from the system. One of the other elements is with cell phone cameras, that has been a very important tool in holding people accountable for harms committed, for wrongful actions, for police violence. And without these cameras on our phones, uh, people would get away with this stuff. And there's another way that these cameras can be used not only for accountability, but for safety. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations for the People with Matthew Solomon. I'm Matthew Solomon, and I'm really excited for our guest on this episode, Noelle Adams, who is the founder and CEO of Culpability, which is a socially responsible tech company. And among a lot of things, the Culpability app is one of the inventions, one of the things that Noelle has been sharing and working to get out there. That's a way that we can use our phones to keep us safe. And we'll get into that, because there's a whole network that when we record incidents, there's a way to get it out to our community versus just being on some random social media site. In addition, Noelle talks about and has co-written books on keeping kids safe using social media, building awareness for parents, supporting parents with kids, when their kids have IEP programs. So we're going to get into all of this, and Noelle's going to explain it a lot better than I have. And I'm really, like I said, excited to introduce to you Noelle Adams, the founder and CEO of Culpability. All right, and Noelle Adams, welcome to Conversations for the People. I'm so happy to have you here.
I am so happy to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. Just for the folks watching and listening in, Noelle and I met, I don't even remember how many months ago. It was the first screening in Atlanta, and
Yes.
Noelle was on the panel, and you created the Culpability app, which is, I'll let you explain it, but I'm really blown away by all the features because it's really about safety. It's a way to video and document, but also there's a community element, which on this podcast we talk about the importance of community and how we keep us safe. And we talk a lot about interventions and the things that we can do to promote safety. And this app that you have and the other stuff that you do, which you have the get home safe trainings, and there's some books that you've written that are all focused on that for adults and kids. So I'd love for you to just kind of jump in and tell us, tell us about the app and whatever is like right there on your mind in
Okay.
along those lines. Yeah.
Absolutely. So my name is Noelle Adams. I am the founder of Culpability. We are a socially responsible safety tech company, and our goal is to help everyone get home safe. So, a little bit about my background. I come from a law enforcement family. My dad was a Chicago police officer at one point, and he also was in the military as an Air Force military police. And he retired from a federal agency, a federal law enforcement agency, after 34 years. I've had an opportunity to see what good community law enforcement looks like. But at the same time, I unfortunately witnessed my brother be wrongfully convicted and sent to prison. He's an innocent man, one of the many innocent people that unfortunately get railroaded through our sometimes unjust judicial system. And it is because of that experience that motivated me to want to do something about that, which was gotten my system and just in my inner core, like, if people are using technology with our phones and capturing information with their phones, why can't we do that, uh, but take it a step further? And the reason I stumbled upon this train of thought is because one of the officers that was involved in my brother's situation, she perjured herself on the stand, and she said that um, my brother had mentioned something. Well, interestingly enough, she testified on the stand that she cut off her video and audio camera due to muscle memory. So,
Hmm.
you can not ride a bike for 20, 30 years and you have muscle memory and you can get back on that bike and ride the bike, right? Interestingly enough, the incident before her approaching my brother, she left her audio and video camera on.
Hmm.
Well, fast forward to my brother being convicted, several months after him being convicted and sent to prison, my mother read an article in her local newspaper about a forensic videographer. And he had done work for the FBI, the prosecutors, defense. He had a law degree and he had a degree around videography. Well, my mom took that in-car video to the forensic videographer, and he analyzed that tape, and he was able to determine that that tape had been edited and altered.
Hmm.
So, in me understanding that piece of it, and in the various emotions that one goes through when a family member has been wrongfully convicted, um, I eventually got to that point of, okay, whatever your higher power is, whatever your belief system is, and me going through my emotions, I got to that place where I was like, okay, something positive has to come out of this situation. And the ideas around using technology to be able to capture incidents is what started coming to me, i.e., culpability. So, with culpability, our solution is we have a mobile app, which is free and available on Google Play and Apple stores, and we have our platform. And so, with our mobile app, it allows a user to hit the SOS button when they need it. So you can post on it like any other social media platform, creating community, safe communities. Um, but when you hit that SOS button, it starts the recording of the audio and video from your phone. And at the same time, it sends out a notification to your emergency contacts. So if you were one of my emergency contacts, you would get a notification and you can click on that link and you can see and hear what is going on with me in real time. So, and at the same time, you get another link you can click on and you can get my GPS coordinates. And I tell everyone when you download the app and you set up your emergency contacts, you should go ahead and plan out your emergency plan. So everyone knows what they need to do before anything takes place. We want to be proactive as opposed to reactive. And there are some other things you can do on the app, like you can actually capture the incident information, whether it's an incident that might be a natural disaster. You would select that it's a natural disaster and you would capture, like here recently, we've seen these hurricanes and these
Hmm.
tropical storms. You could document that kind of information. Um, if it's an incident between you and a law enforcement officer, you can capture that information. if it's an incident between you and another citizen, you can capture that information. So our goal is to give communities an opportunity to capture what's going on within their communities. So again, we can be proactive and we can be able to deal with those challenges in advance of something really terrible happening. And then there are other resources available on there, and you can find out what types of trainings on there and create culpability circles. So yeah,
Yeah.
tried to cover everything.
Yeah, yeah. And so, because I know with cell phone video, right, that's been huge as far as having proof of wrongdoing and conveying information. Like if we look at what's been happening for the last year in Gaza and now the West Bank and now Lebanon, like where it's really people's phones that are sending out the information, the real time happenings versus the stuff that we see on TV that's very limited. And I'm
Yes.
wondering, if you would share with folks like because people can go like live on Facebook or live on Instagram or TikTok, but what are some of the things that set apart this app from that, um, that are beneficial?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are several differences between like culpability and the TikToks or the Facebooks or even the Instagrams. While those things are cool, fun platforms to be able to share um, images, videos, information, one of the things that's so very different is the fact that as we identify resources and resources are shared with us, we vet them and we put those resources on the app. I'll give you an example. Uh, one of the things that I am involved in, I'm an advocate for children and young adults with invisible disabilities. So I've had lots of experience sitting in on IEP meetings with
Mm,
parents and with administrators around their children in the IEP process. Well, one of the resources that's available on the app is a organization called My ID, and we've partnered with them, and they provide assistance for parents that need help with navigating the IEP process.
mm,
Well, I'm going to share why that's so important. One of the things that I've focused on is just eradicating the child to prison pipeline. Unfortunately, a lot of children, you find them getting labeled as bad kids. Well, they may not necessarily be bad kids. They may have a behavioral issue. They could be diagnosed with some type of behavioral issue, like ODD, oppositional defiance disorder. And one of the parents that I work with, whose child does have ODD, and sitting on the IEP meeting as a safety and a learning advocate, we've been able to successfully get those disciplinary actions removed from her child's record. So, again, that's just one resource of several resources that we've identified on the app. So, that's one of the benefits that you won't find in some of those other places that we just talked about. Another benefit is the fact that as an individual who are or who is experiencing those types of incidents, you can actually document that information inside the app.
mm,
So, and I would say you would do that in addition to, let's use the example of some type of police incident that may have been negative, where a law enforcement officer may have been aggressive, overly aggressive. Well, in going to the police department to file a complaint, sometimes that information may not necessarily move along as it needs to. Well, when you have documented that information inside culpability. And if you're working with organizations, let's say like the NAACP or the ACLU or any of these organizations, as a group, when they're involved, that information can be shared with them collectively. So then all of that information can be taken to the chief of police or to the mayor's office. And we can be, again, proactive in either being accountable and getting them moved out and moved on in advance of something terrible happening.
Mm. Yeah, thank you
Yep.
for that. And one of the things that stood out for me is how, like you were mentioning, you have your emergency contacts, and
Yes.
so like social media, like you'll have followers and contacts and friends and things like that. But when there's an incident that's being recorded, you can set up who that goes to, so then those people not only know in real time what's happening, but then they have access to it, so they're not then having to go find it on Facebook or subpoena records
Yes.
for your phone or whatever.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate that, about the app. And I remember you were doing a demonstration for a mutual of ours, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, the video popped up.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to Christina in Atlanta, because yeah.
Yes.
And it was like, wow, this works. And it's in
Yes.
many cities, and I know you can add cities, per
Yes.
request. So yeah, that's really awesome, and something that I've been saying, like people should get this app and use it, because it's also off the grid, of
Yes.
those platforms. You
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and then you were talking about with kids and IEP, and I know you also do a lot of education for kids and parents about social media. So if I'd love it if you would talk about the book and everything that you're working on in that realm as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So, matter of fact, so this is, let's see, the Culpability Phone Zone Activity Book. So, this is for all of your first time cell phone users. I know, especially right around Christmas and birthdays, our young ones start to get these requests because in the peer pressure from their friends and they're wanting their first phones. Well, go to Amazon and download or buy the book so they can have a fun way to learn how to use technology. Because our goal really, we really do want to help everyone get home safe, starting with being responsible with using technology in the home.
Mhm.
Because unfortunately, predators can get to us in a variety of different ways. And our trusty cell phones are one of the ways that they target kids. So we want to help them be responsible cell phone users. And then for all of our parents out there, we have a 30-day journal. So you can then begin to track your child's mood and their emotions once they do start to use technology. So you can know how you want to direct and redirect behavior so we can help them be responsible and safe users and not gullible to a lot of the tricksters that are out there that are wanting to do ill will and harm to our kids.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So before we get into this last part, how can people get in touch with you? How can they get the app? Um, all of that.
All that.
Yeah.
So they can absolutely go to the Google Play or the Apple Store and they can download the app. That's first and foremost. And culpability, it's spelled Culpability, just like the word culpability. You can get in contact with me either through my social media handles or you can email me directly at Noelle.Adams at myculpability.com, especially if you have requests around training, because we do have a Get Home Safe series, and we have several classes that fall underneath that series. And one particular class, it's situational awareness.
Hmm.
And that's something that I encourage. the teens, the high school students, the college students, parents, even as a family. That's something that I would encourage everyone to take because you'd be surprised some of the tips that you learn in going through that. It's not quite a 2 hour session, but we do it virtually. We can do it live, but it's probably easier and uh, less expensive to do it virtually. And you just learn about getting home safe and being situationally aware.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And then we'll post all of the contacts in the show notes and the website and the app as well. And then before we go, you mentioned the Get Home Safe trainings. Uh, what does that cover? I know that you mentioned the situational awareness and like what are some of the other modules or lessons in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So another one of the classes within that series is that dealing with difficult people in difficult situations.
Mm.
That's a great class to take because sometimes, and I've said this on numerous occasions, especially when interacting with management and with employees that provide customer service, sometimes customer service can save your life in
Mm.
today's world
Yeah.
because unfortunately we have lots of people out there that are on short fuses, and it's some of the smaller things that we don't think about or we take for granted that can really make a difference.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Noelle, thank you so much for being here. It's always great connecting with you. And yeah, I look forward to having you back anytime and talking to you soon.
Thank you, and everyone, please get home safe and make sure you download that app when you get a chance. And it is always a pleasure to see and hear you, Matthew.
Thank you so much for listening in. Make sure and go to myculpability.com to check out the culpability app and the trainings and everything that Noelle has going on and the best way to reach Noelle. Uh, Go and watch Reimagining Safety, reimaginingsafetymovie.com, Reimagining Safety Movie on Instagram, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe because all of that helps keep all of this going. And again, thank you for watching and listening in to Conversations for the People. And until next time, all power to the people.